Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're here live. Today is Monday, March 11th, 2024, and we're going to get into a CPI driven week. I'm just cleaning up my charts here for you. Today, we're going back to the basics of my strategy of having overnight low, overnight high, previous session, high, low, and close. Those are my key levels to deal with for the morning, and then I will look further to evaluate, if anything goes further downside. That'll be all done on the trading view charts that you will see right over here. These are the trading view charts. Oop. I guess I'm downloading something. I don't know if that's how that works, but yes. Okay. We have our levels drawn up on TV that we would be interested in long term. So what we were mentioning in the overnight write-up and the video was NVIDIA. Looks like it wants to open up above that low there. So this low here at 865, I have it down as 863.75 just from previous structures, but that low is really the key to today's price action. If NVIDIA does hold above the 865 level, open up, and start to creep into here, I think the NASDAQ does catch a bit of a bounce and tries to hold 18,000. If not, if NVIDIA starts to fail, roll over this level, then we have all the way down to 800 is not out of the realm of possibility. And with the CPI tomorrow, it may start the rollover for the NASDAQ and the S&Ps and really kind of get things kicked off. So this is what we're going to be watching right on the open. We do have about 15 minutes or so. We can run through just a quick little game plan here. I have, like I said, I have the NQ pulled up here. This big area here is the liquidity zone that I have noted from the past, let's see, 4 hours. We'll go here. Since January 24th. Yeah, since about January 24th. It acted as resistance. We popped above. It acted as support, right? So this whole zone, basically from 18,000 down to about 17,700, is a key area that kind of could still hold. Like even if you get a flush, let's say midway through this zone down here to 827-ish, a flush to that could lead to the bottom end of the zone, but the bottom end of that zone could still act as support. So what we're looking for continued downside is going to be a hold below this zone here, and then a rotation down into that 17,200 as that first target and beyond down to the lows. If you do get any sort of selling coming into the NVIDIAs, the Apples, then Microsoft's Apple popping up, I said 170 is an area of support. I did mention that in the write-up as well. This 170 area could hold and act as a bounce point, which also could kind of hold up the NQs for the time being, at least until that CPI number comes out tomorrow. That's what we're looking at with Apple and the NQs. And NVIDIA, like I said, we'll go back to NVIDIA. Just watch that 865.03 is that level. That's the bottom from Friday. And then you have Microsoft, who, like I said, needs to hold that 406.18. Anything above 406.18 I'll consider bullish. Anything holding below 406.18 will be considered bearish, right? If it breaks above, holds, and runs, then you have upside to 409 and then to 412. We didn't quite make 412 last week, and if any sort of CPI number comes out hot, I think this rotates down back through 406.18. So, but today we could get a slight bounce based on whatever NVIDIA does. If you start to rotate down and through, you do have levels below down to 400 and beyond. So we're just mindful of those. I'll go to Amazon. Amazon also holding that low level there. I did note that Amazon has a rising wedge style pattern coming up into play, right? On a 30-minute. You can see we've come up, we've based, and now we're kind of rallying here. It may be even an inverse head and shoulder or a regular head and shoulders here. Just kind of seeing it quickly. You can see this area acting as a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern. So any sort of selling off on the beginning of the day may lead to Amazon rolling back over to the lows of this consolidation zone. Like like all these names, we're going to be cautious. It is Monday on a inflation week, so we are going to have to be a little bit standoffish and let markets tell us what we want to do moving forward. So just have a plan and then execute on that plan, right? I always try to mention that. I did the whole write-up. The write-up in the YouTube is in the link below. In Tradecaster, it's in the alerts section. You could also go over, watch that YouTube video. Just a quick breakdown of kind of what I'm looking at for the week. And I'm going to be doing that every Sunday night when I get home from work. So we have that a little bit of a video series. And then I also plan a new video series as well for the Day Trading Coffee Company content. So it's going to be a lot of really good information coming out. I have a couple partnerships coming out that I'm pretty excited for. So just stay tuned, be a part of the community, stay interactive. Things are going to start to show their face in due time, right? Currently with the NASDAQ, back to here, NASDAQ is holding below VWAP, below 18,000. And, we sat on that overnight low and we gave a little bit of a double bottom type bounce, and now we're rotating higher. You did see NVIDIA holding that 865 level, so anything that NVIDIA is going to do here probably is going to prop us up some. That other chart with the 30-minute chart, you could see that 18,000 was going to be a really key level. So overall, let's have a great trading day. Give me a second. I'm just going to turn off this fan because it's cool in here. Welcome everybody new, everybody old. Appreciate everybody coming by, stopping by, having a good time with us here on Tradecaster and on YouTube. I think overall we're going to have a really great week. I'm only going to be streaming one day this week. I only have Monday because my family's coming into town, so coming into the office and taking over, so I'm not going to be able to be on my live stream setup. If I do end up trading, or if I do end up executing on anything or going on the laptop or whatever, I will still be in the chat on Tradecaster. So if you do not have a membership, get one. 7-day free trial. Head over there, click the link in the YouTube chat and in the bio to the video, and that'll get you access 7-day free trial. And then afterwards, I'll be free for the time being until we could pop these numbers up. But I don't anticipate getting to become a paid room for some time. So just come on in, enjoy the content, enjoy the company, and see what kind of value we can provide, okay? Got our espressos in. Just trying to get my ducks in a row here for the opening bell, which is going to be in about 7 minutes. If anybody has any questions, wants to break down anything else, let me know. It looks like the S&Ps are not... See, S&P right here, not much different than the NQs, pretty much the exact same chart pattern. You can see here, this is the NQ, this is the S&P. You can see they look almost identical. Not much divergence going on right now. On Friday, Thursday, on Thursday, we noticed the break above the all-time high, which was interesting. Where are we at? I'm pretty sure it was Thursday. Just be mindful of these dates. Thursday we broke all-time highs. We pushed up through without much of an issue, and then I'm gonna say it was this day here. Yeah, it was this one. I apologize. It was actually March 1st that we broke through all-time highs, and the NQ didn't catch up. Right, we didn't break all-time highs, made new ones, then we came back in, and then on Thursday once again broke those all-time highs without much of an issue. Held above, and the NQ diverged a bit because it didn't quite make those new all-time highs, right? We didn't make those new all-time highs there. So we... I use... this is Quant Tower to trade. I have a Trade-Evade account through... what is that? Take Profit Trader for the eval for the Combine that I'm trying out with them. I did Trade-Evade with them just because I wanted to have something completely different than my Quant Tower feed, because I just didn't want to bounce back and forth from Quant Tower to another Quant Tower to another Quant Tower. I have Top Step with Quant Tower, and I have Take Profit Trader, a Combine with Trade-Evade. I don't prefer Trade-Evade. After you start trading on like an actual dedicated platform that's made to trade like like Quantower and NinjaTrader, you start to get more accustomed to using those kinds of platforms. Back to the S&Ps, right? We popped above. We held above all-time highs, and then we kind of just faded out a little bit, while the NQs did not break those all-time highs and held below. Come Friday, S&Ps did start the rally first. It did push up through the all-time highs once again, broke the high from the previous day. NQ was lagging, right? We did not catch up, didn't break those all-time highs, and then finally we saw the big divergence here at, I think it was like 8:30, 8:45. We saw the divergence between the NQ and the ES, and we just played that long through there to try and catch up, and then we just didn't get any follow through like we have been having on these Friday day breakouts of all time highs. That's been normally on the all time high breakout on a Friday. We've been getting continuation. So for me, that kind of tells me a little bit more of a story here about how this follow through to the upside is not. This may lead to that next leg to the downside, right? That correction phase that we've been expecting. With this CPI number coming out, I anticipate maybe that's the final driver that kind of puts the nail in the coffin for this little bit of a run up to the upside that we've been having, just constantly making all-time high, all-time high, all-time high. I think that we could get some correction coming in. I am a bit bearish. I've talked about it over and over again on the stream where, reality is disconnected from the stock market. So I'm trying to, you have to disconnect those emotions and those feelings about what you see in real life as opposed to what you're trading on a chart, especially if you're a day-to-day intraday trader. If you have like the ability to kind of weather the storm and hold some drawdown, and you're a longer term investment portfolio type person, then maybe you could deal with whatever correction comes and then rally it through, or even so you can time it a little bit better where you could get in and then kind of just let that correction take place, and you'll be able to take profit on the way down. By with also withstanding some upside moves. But right now, as an intraday trader, we are just looking to see what each day's opportunity will provide us. Right now, it looks like we're going to probably open dead center, middle of the overnight range, pretty much close to VWAP. And my strategy calls for fading some sort of extreme, either an overnight high or an overnight low, and a rotation to the other end. If today we do get a breakdown of the overnight low and we hold, I may look to take that play to the downside only because I do have that bearish bias on the day. I'm not going to play a breakout of the upside. I may if we get a great setup and something just kind of plays itself out that I just forces my hand to take that trade. With CPI tomorrow and last week just kind of beat us up a little bit. We're going to still be trading micros for at least today. We may switch back to minis next week, just depending on how the week goes. But overall, we are going to just wait to see what this open brings in another minute, and we'll go from there. All right. Everybody have a great trading day, and I hope you guys kill it. I'm going to just be calling out levels as the day goes on, what I see, what I hear. I will have my Trader TV live up in the background just in case news pops, because I always like to hear what they have to say about whatever news is coming out. They are great if you are interested in stock trading, where they just it's just like a way better version of, say, like MSNBC or anything like that. It's just pure day trading. But I always have them up in the background. Okay, we are open. Dead center, middle of the range. We are going to be patient, like I said. See where we end up in these extreme ranges. That's the plan. No need to deviate from it. Looks like we're starting to get a pump to start the day. Nvidia is holding above that Friday low for now. So let's see. That probably will drive us up over that 18,000 number. Yeah, NVIDIA holding above, looking pretty strong right now. NVIDIA is up at 877, rejecting that 877 at 875. If it flushes through that 865, watch out below. Like I said, opening range here is currently about 133 ticks. Looks like it wants to crack through that low. Microsoft also pushing lows. Apple fading its pre-market highs. Now trying to push upside. NVIDIA wicked that high and now it's rotating down. I would say AMD, they're talking about AMD dumping, so maybe NVIDIA follows through. You see that break of that opening range low. NVIDIA is cracking that low there, so we're going to watch this the overnight low and see what happens here. If we can crack and hold, then we will take that short to the downside. And like I said, we do not have there's just plenty of room to the downside for our targets. I did mention that 17,800 level, 830 as one target for the mid-range of this liquidity zone, then down to 17,700. So let's watch this, see if we hold or if we bounce. NVIDIA is just getting to the pre-market lows. See if it's going to bounce from there or if it's going to flush through. You can see that area does act as resistance there. We are pushing through it. I'm not going to enter quite yet. I want to be able to limit my risk some, so I want to see if it'll hold or if it's going to bounce from here. It looks like NVIDIA just flushed, so I will take the break of the low if it holds the close of this candle. The candle needs to close below here for me to want to take that short. You can see NVIDIA here. Crazy sell there for the NVIDIA. Like I did mention, you see it below this level here, you are probably going to get a pretty decent sell-off. We did flush this overnight low on the NVIDIA chart, so I want to see if it does continue pushing, if we continue to rotate down lower with the NQ. All right, let's sell this down here and see how low we can take it. No. Ran on that. Looks like it wants to hold this overnight low. We did take that short through the bottom on the second attempt to break through down to the downside. So we are wicking it. We are holding. We're right at basically break even at the moment. I did mention that our downside targets here probably going to be that initial target of 830-ish. If we can get that low that quick. And then if it's going to continue to flush, that 17,700 is there. If we do get a bounce and NVIDIA does decide to buy up through this pre-market low, then watch this trade to kind of fail and falter on us. But right now we are in good shape. We're going to try and hold it and see as best as we can how far we can get it to the downside. I like that. I'm going to take that off the screen there. If I do see a pop at all in NVIDIA, I am going to get out of this. But everything else is kind of pushing downside. That's a little bit of a bounce there. Man, we're probably going to get stopped out right here on this big pop to the high side. It looks like NVIDIA wants to kind of recover that pre-market low So we will be a little more patient. If we do get stopped out here again, we're going to wait to see if we can get another close down below that low. If not, we should still be safe. If we do get below this low again here, without getting stopped out, you could add on to that contract. But it looks like we're going to get stopped on this momentum pushed here. 940 seems to be important there. There we go. Alrighty, so we're out. We're down $50 on that trade there. No biggie. Nothing we can't get back there real quick. We took that first shot of that overnight low breakdown. If it does hold and you get NVIDIA to rotate higher, then you can rotate this overnight low if we get a delta divergence to that overnight high. I think that's a reasonable expectation. Just been on that streak of just kind of not catching that follow through on some of these moves, which is fine by me. We got to just enter that next one. NVIDIA is trying to reclaim that low of Friday. So 865 is incoming on NVIDIA. So that is why we are getting this pop, right? NVIDIA held below this pre-market low. That's why it made me say, let's take that short through low as well. We gave it enough room to work, and it just didn't quite play out right there. There is still a chance. We are sitting on that support level. I think there could be follow through right now, but we're right into that same area, that opening range area. NQ as opposed to ES, both looking pretty congruent right now, acting in unison. NQ probably pushing upside a little bit more than the S&Ps. Right at VWAP right here. We do have futures rollover this week, so also be cautious of that kind of funky price action as well. Our opening range here is 830. This candle here, and I don't know why the opening range is not populating. Let's see if it'll populate if I change time frames. I took that shot on that flush. Obviously, that got people in. Still not convinced the long is in yet. I would like to see this actually, NVIDIA actually hold above here, give it some sort of confirmation that it's going to hold and kind of rotate through. Anything that holds above and then into this range, I would say we would like to see a break of 877 if it's going to play out. If not, we may get that flush of that opening range low once again. Opening range low is here. So you're delayed behind me. That's what you're saying? Yeah, I think try to refresh it. Maybe log in, log out of TradingView. I do have real-time data on my TradingView as well, and I haven't had many issues with it. It's usually sort of quick with the data feed. 79s, 84, 83. Yeah, it's pretty close to what I'm seeing on my Quant Tower. 86, 85. It's a slight bit slower, but nothing like overly delayed. 82, 87s. Yeah, it's pretty much exact. Refresh it, try to figure it out, and see where it goes from there. All right, NVIDIA now breaking back up. 875, 865 is that low that we were anticipating holding. We do want to watch this 877 level here to see if it's going to hold as well. We're at VWAP on the NQs. I'm not going to force in anything right here, middle of the range. I do like the opening range idea here. I don't know why that's not populating. Most of the time it does. Let me set my settings. 830, 831. For some reason it's just not showing for me. It always does, so I don't know what's going on here. See what happens at 18,000. What's Apple and Microsoft doing? Apple pushing highs, Microsoft looking to rotate back up. It flushed that pre-market low, still in that downtrend for Microsoft. I don't know if it's going to kind of hold or if it's going to rally at all. And then NVIDIA, Amazon broke down that trend that we were talking about pre-market, right? I drew up that quick little head and shoulders pattern. That thing would have, if you would have took that short there, it would have played out pretty nice for you for a good $2, right? Almost $2, $1.50. So that's a pretty nice little move there. But now it's trying to reclaim that area as the NQ is trying to reclaim that VWAP. Still sitting mid-range of that NVIDIA. Pretty much got a flush of the lows. Got people involved. Looks like they stopped them out. And now maybe we're rotating back to the downside. Opening range low here is this candle right there. This is the opening range here. So hold above this. Probably up through 18,000 is a long up into that overnight high. Then you kind of be mindful of that overnight high. Previous session close is up here at 46. So that's also another target for a lot of the market participants to avoid that gap. But just be mindful of this zone here. Normally I have my, let's see if I reload history data. Nope, did not pop up. Most of the time it populates, but I don't know why it's not working right now. So it just happens sometimes where you would see a red line and a blue line here for the opening range. For some reason it's still showing, I think, Fridays, which is all the way up here. It's not even showing that, no. If NVIDIA cracks that low, 865.03 down through 863, this rotation could happen once again. But we gotta watch that opening range low. If you crack that opening range low, you could risk to the high, right? And then you could add on a breakdown below that overnight low, and that's kind of a good trade idea there, where you have risking the VWAP, kind of confirming that rotation downside, but you have to see NVIDIA break down. If NVIDIA holds up and continues to rotate, then this market's going to continue back upside. That short idea is just based on the flush coming in again, and this being more of a stop run, getting people involved near VWAP and then rotating back. I usually find that if the opening range high holds, or the opening range holds, and there's going to be some sort of continuation on the day, then that next flush of that zone, whichever way it's going to be, is the true flush of it. So that's why I do have that order set out there. But if it's going to continue to rally, like if NVIDIA is just going to whip us around, then it is what it is, right? The VIX is up a bit. If that's what I saw, the VIX is up. VIX is up okay, nothing crazy. I mean, VIX is not something I look at on a 5 minute. VIX at the high end of this little channel here, so potentially could dump down. If it does spike hard, then you could anticipate a nice little sell-off. But it looks like it's at the high end of this, pretty much. Maybe could tick up a little bit more and then look to sell down, and then that could rotate us back higher also. So careful of the VIX. NVIDIA is still in this little range here. Potentially could break above the high here. Could have rotated that through that overnight low, rotate up to the overnight high, still a valid play. So if you are long from that overnight low, from that flush out, you're still in good shape. Nothing really telling you otherwise. 18,000 is going to be that important level, which we have basically just held right below this entire time. If you crack above it, I would anticipate NVIDIA also taking a breakout a little bit. S&P is still holding a little bit lower than the NQs. Rejecting VWAP, potentially looking to crack above here, trying to hold. Delta trying to tick up, but not quite getting you that follow through. I think if you do crack that 18,000 overnight highs, previous day close are pretty much right in your sights right there. I don't want to take an initial break of 18 because I do not trust any moves right now, especially after that first lack of follow through to the downside on the kind of the plan of shorting the overnight low with NVIDIA breaking Friday's lows. Probably could let it settle in for that 15 minutes prior to entering. Obviously, that's a good thing to do. Just tried to shoot my shot on that with a very limited risk. I do feel like a failure of this 18,000 with a lack of buyers pushing through there kind of gives you a hint that they still don't quite want to buy it up. But also at the same time, I do think previous session numbers kind of want to get tagged before we make any decisions for the day. Any breakdown below 70 probably gets you maybe tickled into this. So I do want to see if it'll tickle me in and then pop upside, or if it's going to confirm and push down. If it wants to flush hard, I do want to be involved. That's why I have the stop right there below. Stop entry there below at 5.75. 17.8, 17.7 if we do follow through on this low side. That's why I want to be involved, and I would like to get that first one off maybe down there. Let it breathe, let it do its thing a little bit. There's that little push downside. It probably will trigger us in, and let's see if it's more of a liquidity grab or if it's going to actually be a true move after it rejected that 18,000 level once again. S&P's is pushing down, pushing to that 5,111 level. I think NVIDIA cracking 65 brings this market down until CPI tomorrow. If we do push down all the way through to CPI tomorrow, then anticipate maybe that bounce play. Maybe they're going to look to buy up the NVIDIA, the CPI data, but there's the breakdown of the low on NVIDIA. See if that helps us out at all in our trade. We are triggered in. We're going to take this shot here. We're short 17,954 and a quarter. Alrighty, short one. Oh. $17,954 and a quarter. Not quite following through, but you can see NVIDIA did crack that low there. Apple still pushing down. Microsoft also holding below 403. So if this does hold this opening range low and rotate higher, then maybe NVIDIA still goes up, but looks like it's trying to reclaim that low again, but not getting that follow through, not a big pop. Nah. We are not safe here. $970. that opening range low was just a tease. We would be fantastic if you're fading me for the longs entries. I have been bottom ticked twice at the moment, so do with that what you may. You can understand the reasoning behind the short idea here. You know, maybe we are a touch early on it. So, like I said, I did want to be involved slightly earlier on that short just to see if I can get that flush of the opening range low, leaving the opening range high at the high. If NVIDIA does, in fact, want to hold below its Friday low, it keeps testing it. And now this time it tested it and bounced once again, but holding that 71, 72 level. If you do crack above 74, I guess this NQ probably runs and we get stopped out. But we are above 8. We have our stop up there above VWAP. So if we are going to hold below VWAP and still short, then potentially still safe here below this high volume node at 986. But NVIDIA is the driver for the day. Okay, pushing back down a little harder this time. Looks like it's going to be a little bit more volume on that there. The delta is pushing down, trying to act in congruence with the price. So if we do get a good flush in delta, hopefully this can push us down through that overnight low again. There we go. We got a good push. I am going to add below the overnight low. I do think if we can get below there, then we can really follow through to the downside. So I would like to have a second contract on. That second contract will have the stop at our entry here. Or actually, it'll be at our initial stop above this level there. I think if we stop that, then we're probably going to get out anyway. So we'll probably be break even at that point. But I will add to this, see if we can get a further push to the downside on this now. I need to see NVIDIA flush. If NVIDIA can follow through and flush, this will be the true move this time, leaving that opening range high at the high of the day and then following us through to the downside. But that level is holding once again. It's holding again. So I'm going to just leave it, let that thing just work itself out. Not going to move my stop until we get triggered on that second entry to just mitigate our risk to the downside. But if NVIDIA is going to pop off the low, then we're going to be done on that. But it looks pretty heavy on the day, to be honest with you. It looks like it's trying to tick those highs and just not getting any follow through above 72. Seems like there is a seller somewhere in there, and if it does want to hold below that low, I would love to see NVIDIA down to 800 to really help our position out. There we go. It's holding below 65. There's 64, 64. Can we hold below or not? I want to hold this position until that second entry gets tagged. If I do see NVIDIA do some crazy pop, then I may flatten. Overall, sitting in the money on this. The heaviness is still there. I think that ad is in a good location. I think if we do get down there, what's up with the market today? I think it does want to probably not have a ton of follow through, to be honest, but I do think if it cracks the lows, it does have a pretty good move to the downside. We do have CPI tomorrow, so that is kind of what we're looking at. As far as data is concerned, I think people are a little spooked into that CPI number, and NVIDIA driving the markets probably pushes us downside. If it continues to hold right here below that 865 to 863 level there, the NQs will follow. It's really, you get that and Apple and Microsoft. Apple is pushing highs, but Microsoft pushing lows. I think NVIDIA and Microsoft are the drivers right now. I think any sort of fear of tomorrow's CPI coming out hot and tanking this market even more leads to today being the day that NVIDIA people start to take profits on their upside move because they don't want to lose out on that. And then that pretty much guarantees that it's going to just push and flush further downside. So you can see NVIDIA pushing down. Our trade is in the money now, pretty good. So we are going to move our stop here just in case we do get triggered into that second entry, which we look like we are. We're in 2 now. And we're just going to mitigate our losses a bit there. We don't want to overdo it with our position. So second time trying to break through that overnight low. If it doesn't hold here, then we will get stopped out for a small loss on that. And we'll be at break even on this one. We're at break even now. just above this candle. If it wants to come back up and pop up, we'll take that break even. But now we'll have 2 contracts on. I've got to take no centering so I can at least pop these 2 together. I want these 2 stops to be together. So we're above that candle there. If this flushes, then we're going to be in good shape. If not, then we'll just get stopped out for a break-even trade. But we are now averaged in short below here. If Nvidia can hold this, we'll be all right. Now we're stopped out. That was quick. Came back up pretty hard. We made 20 bucks on that, so we're down 30 bucks. Probably going to end up. We could have secured. Yeah, we secured about 43 bucks on that move downside. Added that 1 contract at that low because if we did get that flush, we did have Nvidia holding below, but really holding this overnight low now. That was a higher low on it. We do have a higher low on Delta, now pushing upside. We could have that rotational day now in our cards. So that was a good little comeback there. The add was necessary. I can't say it was the wrong move. Because when we do get that follow through, we want to have that extra contract. We're down 30 bucks. $37 on that. So we caught 20 bucks back. Nvidia still holding that low. Microsoft caught a little bit of a bounce there. Like I said, we're back to Nvidia. Still just looking to see if it's going to hold below here or not. Apple trying to break through the highs. I'm going to watch Nvidia. If this now tries one more time to break through the lows, we probably will take that short through the low again, just based on the heaviness. But if Nvidia wants to hold and now rally through, then you watch this rotation from this overnight low to the overnight high. The CPI number tomorrow is that number to be watching out for, right? It still feels heavy to me. I mean, there's just this lingering, still holding below that Friday close and even below this area of support that I have at 863.74. This little bit of a bounce, very weak on the bounce. I think we can probably look to see maybe to go short through the bottom here and risk that move, because this is just getting heavy and it is holding that level. And if we do get the true flush of that overnight low, the follow through, the risk to reward is there, right? See what happens at 900. If we just flush right through 900, then you know this is going to be pretty safe move. There we go. Now we are flushing. Nvidia is pushing downside. Does it bounce? Does it bounce? Does it bounce? Are we in a rotational day or are we in a flush day? It looks very heavy to me. Left that opening range high there. Tried to test it once. Failed it. Tried to pop up again on our short there. Failed it again. We went to just above break even because obviously it gave it all back, which was fine. Now we're in again on the short, 912.50. I think with Nvidia still holding below these lows, we are in safe. But if it does decide that it wants to give you a pop, then you get out. We are only trading micros, so we do have a little bit of space to give it. 912. We're short below 912. 912.50.
I want the market to break downside. I think if the S&P is looking heavy as well. It looks like it's trying to make new lows on the day. Looking to tag that 100 level. If it can tag that 100 level, I think you do get a bit of a flush in the NQs, right? You're still seeing that breakdown in the NQs here on the 30. So we are okay here. I'd be really surprised with the way NVIDIA is being heavy below these numbers if it will continue to get bid up. Kind of just every time it comes up, it wants to go right back down below that Friday low. And you can understand the reasoning behind why I explained like what I was talking about with the short idea on NVIDIA, why people would be looking to take profits coming into a CPI number that could be hot, that a lot of the headlines showing that people anticipating that tomorrow's number might come in a lot higher than expected, which will lead to interest rates staying higher for longer, and then you're not going to get that kind of big move. You may get it to the downside, and people don't want to be giving back hundreds of dollars on their NVIDIA trade, so they're going to give it back today instead. My stop needs to be above this overnight low. If it gets above this level here, I am wrong. So I don't want to be giving back that much. It looks like it wants to continue to flush the lows. S&Ps is pushing down through. We are now up pretty nice on that. I do want to not come back to break even ever again. I will let this thing try and work its way downside. If NVIDIA will continue to break, we should be able to maximize our gain on it down through that. If you can hold below 900, that's really the key here, right? 900 doesn't want to hold, and we're out flat. Nope, still in. Still in short. Flat. My thing is, I am a little quick on these. We'll say we're flat, and we got this. We made $1 on that, so covered our fees. Flat. I don't trust it on this day to be. These lack of breakdowns, lack of follow through could give me that indication that the longs want to come in, and I'll flip my bias to the long side if we do crack above this trend line here. If we can crack this, there's a good chance that this comes back upside, rotates through with the lack of that follow through. I think if you were going to get sellers coming in there hard, they would have came in already. I would like to see that break. This is if this can come back. If it continues to flush down, so be it. I mean, we just get, there's the NQ. S&P is just hit off in 5,100. So if that's going to be a bounce point for the S&Ps, then I don't want to be involved in the NQ on the short side because the S&Ps really do respect their levels. But it is kind of holding now below there. So I would just be mindful of this short coming in. The reason I have this long idea above, I'm going to kind of go to break even kind of quick on it. Look to see if I can catch a little piece of a pop just based on the lack of follow through to the downside on this move with NVIDIA still holding below that Friday low. I do feel like that maybe you could catch this rotation, at least a VWAP, if it does want to just give you a good pop kind of quickly. I want it to be right fast. I don't want to linger around and start to rotate down because then that means I'm going to be wrong. And I will rotate it back up to the high side if I can. It's holding here. I think a break back above that opening range, the overnight low gives you that push. I think any hold now will give you that full rotation downside. S&P's trying to hold that 5100 level, sort of flushing it now, 50, 99, 98. Yeah, so this may continue downside. This might be just any sort of pop above here might be a liquidity grab type move. You see Delta trying to tick up here, ticking up. If it does start to give you a good pop, that pop could come in. NVIDIA looking to come back to that 863.74 level. Delta creeping up, price not playing along quite yet. See if it does. See which way it breaks first. If it breaks up with the Delta, you may get some more buyers stepping in. If it doesn't and continues to flush downside, then you know that there's a seller sitting right here at that overnight low. So my short idea was right up here, right? We just didn't give it enough breathing room to play out. I am going to just flatten this for in a minute. If we do crack the low here. I'm flattening that. Let's give it a couple minutes. 9:07 a.m. Okay. Apple. Flushing. Microsoft. Wick the lows again. Didn't hold it though. It's trying to hold that 402.25 level. So there could be that there. Apple, like I said, pushing that low, that little wedge that's creating. NVIDIA looking to bounce. It does kind of hold and crack that, and then you might get a little bit of a pop. NVIDIA looking to break. I want NVIDIA to break above that 63. If it does, then this will go. And we're in long. Average cost 923 3/4. Didn't get the follow through that I thought on the sell side quite yet. NVIDIA is trying to reclaim that Friday low on this big push up to the upside here, and I think I would have liked this market to have gone kind of quickly on this break to the high side and not come back below that overnight low. So that is the only concerning part for me, because I did like the short through the overnight low initially. But with the NVIDIA pop, I did like that maybe rotation back to 18,000 at least, just to see where it'll go. NVIDIA now pushing its head right up into that 865 level. Delta working with us, not fighting us really, so that is a good sign as well for the long. NVIDIA looking to pop it. If it can accept above that 865, then I think buyers step back in. Because that lack of follow through to the downside, I think people will be a little more optimistic. Hey, okay, we're gonna hold above Friday's low. Let's start getting involved. If not, if it's going to fail here, then we have a big flush incoming. And like I said, my short bias was there. I just have this long idea here for this quick little breakout with that return back to that 85 level. But looks like it wants to rotate a little bit. Apple popping. Microsoft bounced. AMD rotating. Yeah, NVIDIA rotating downside. I don't have this stop in the right spot. Fuck it. Down 39. All right, down 76. Flatten on that. Just not quite getting it. Flat. Flat. Down 76. Pause. Ooh, where are we at? NVIDIA, there we are. Let's do its thing. I don't want this here. This is useless to me now. This is more like it. Here. There's the breakdown. The 900 level again. Gotta start just taking some profits off these bad boys when I take the shorts. Microsoft breaking down. Apple failed the high. NVIDIA looking to not make it back above that 863, 864, 865, 05. We are holding this level here at the moment. Held below there. Let's see if it'll hold below here. Give you the flush. Or if it's going to fail this breakdown and rotate up. This is just watching. You do see NVIDIA still holding that low, but price is not playing along. S&P is flushing the 100 and holding below 100. So that kind of tells me that we do see that short still coming in. Flat bottom break here. NQ rolled, but it didn't completely roll. The liquidity is still higher in this contract. I think later in the week we'll go to the June contract, but right now the March contract is still the more liquid of the contracts. So yes, roll happened, or it's in the middle of a roll. It didn't completely roll yet. This contract is still valid through the end of the week. You'll see the volumes tick up. I'll show you. Let me pull it up. I'm short on the bottom here just because I think that break is coming. I gotta stop flip-flopping my bias and just let it happen. Let this overnight low play itself out. CME NQ rollover. Let's see if I can pull that up. Overview. Do we have the volume on this? Contracts, current volume, where are we at? Volume and open interest, okay. So you can see, I know you said that rollover happened, whatever happens with this trade, it happens, it is what it is. You can see we're losing our volume on this contract currently, this is Friday. You can still see that the volume in the March contract is still well above the volume in the June contract, so this contract isn't the one you want to trade yet. Roll is starting, but you don't want to be trading the June contract as of yet. Probably wait till Thursday of this week to start looking to see that this volume is going to be either equal or flip to being heavier on that June contract. But right now, we are looking at that March contract still being the correct contract to trade. So stay on that H contract for now. But you can see slowly they're gaining interest on this count. Yeah. Roll is important. You just got to be mindful of it. There's no need to rush into the roll for yourself until you see that that volume is now ticked up. Let this thing breathe a little bit, and now it's NVIDIA is trying to push higher. Apple, AMD, NVIDIA, Microsoft. Yeah, NVIDIA now reclaiming that level there. But we're not following through here. S&P's is still holding below that 5,100. If this is going to break and hold, then we are going to be out on this one once again. There we go. Overnight low. Trying to do its best to hold, but there it is. And I bet you it can flip this to the long side and catch a nice little move. So I'm going to do that. Good. Playing my level here. Now if I can see if this will rotate now through the upside. Sitting down about 100. Nothing oversized. Just taking a little paper cuts here and there. We will get that follow through on one of these. There we go. A little push down 130. Long one MNQ at 17,927 3/4. NVIDIA's got to continue high side here, which it looks like it wants to, but this wick here killing me. We're holding above that 5,100 in the S&Ps, so the rotation from this overnight low to overnight high now, I want to see that play out more likely than it wants to not follow through to the downside. There hasn't been that push to the downside. If this is that final liquidity grab to the high side to then now rotate us back down, then so be it. Then we'll pause on the day. But more likely the trade is that rotation back to that overnight high, or at least till that previous session close. I want to see if that previous session low or the close will get tagged, especially with NVIDIA now catching a nice little bid. If we can get NVIDIA up over that 877, hopefully we can continue the buying pressure on this move. Like I said, intraday, not trying to be married to either side, just trying to take the opportunities as they present themselves. And it seems like the long is now trying to come in. Delta's working in our favor. We failed to break the low, overnight low, multiple times, and now we're just going to fade that area and look to kind of just continue to push it to the upside and get a full kind of rotational type day, which should be kind of anticipated on a pre-CPI day, but based on the way NVIDIA was acting, it kind of wanted to look like it wanted to roll over. So that's what I'm looking at now. If it does, like I said, if it does fail now again and finally give you that big flush to the downside, then we'll be out and we'll move on. But looking to maximize our opportunity here by rotating the overnight low to first target is VWAP and then seeing what happens at VWAP, and if it can break above and hold, then we can possibly look to see the full rotation to the overnight high from here. At the moment, 9:20 a.m. looking to see if NVIDIA will hold above its Friday low, and that's really what we're looking for as the key driver to this move making sense. If this is, like I said, if this is just that liquidity grab to the upside, then we're out and we'll probably just be done for the day and look to trade tomorrow. But obviously we're on this stream till 11, so I will still continue to talk through all of the trades and everything I'm thinking about for the day. So we're going to watch it. We're going to be mindful of it. Like I said, Nvidia is holding above this level, so we should be okay for now. But you can see our move is kind of dancing around. It was in and out, in and out, trying to hold that overnight low. Now cracking it, now flushing. Looked like a liquidity grab to the high side. If it holds this trend line, hopefully we're still in okay shape. If it doesn't and it flushes, we'll be out because it'll probably flush the low before it decides to do anything else. Yeah, my trading has just been a little bit of back and forth over the last few weeks. I catch a few really good days, and then I've just been grinding myself out the other days. So over the next week, I have family in town, taking a quick break just to focus on the family time. We are going to be streaming come again next week, same time, same place. Really look to just refocus ourselves back in and get a good refresher over the next week, because obviously something is off on the execution end. Obviously the analyses are there. We do have good levels. Everything is playing out, and then just kind of failing on us, and we're not capitalizing on moves that are in our favor. Even if this one fails or goes our way, it doesn't matter. Like, I accepted that loss right as I took it. I just need to understand what is not getting that follow through on our strategy that has worked so well over the past. And you go through phases of this, and it's reality of trading. So I would just be mindful of that for your own trading plan, and see if you can kind of, if you go through similar periods, figure out what is going to keep you in it or get you out of it, or whatever works for you. Is this is the realities of this business, right? But obviously Nvidia is holding up, and markets are trying to rotate down, which is kind of interesting to me. Disconnected again. I guess my stop was in an okay location there. It didn't quite get filled. Just watching the price action here, seeing if it'll get us that pop above that overnight low once again. But like I said, it kind of looks like a liquidity grab now, just based on the way it's acting and if it wants to continue the flush. So my original idea for the short side was the right one. I am done right now. I'm not trading anymore. 180 down for the day. I'm just going to kind of pause. Unless I see something great, I'm just going to hold off. I just continuously hit a string of losers. And pick the best times to hit these losing streaks. So I'm going to flip off of this account, and I'm going to throw up this amount. I'm just going to leave it on here. We'll keep that there. Get that off of here. If anybody sees anything that they're interested in, just let me know. I will go over your trade ideas. I'm just kind of being mindful of what I got going on with my executions. Like you can see, Nvidia did hold above. That's why I decided, okay, it's holding above its levels. Overnight low could rotate now. It might now. And, my stop was just in a shitty location. Could have risked to the low of the day. Not really gave that much more back. And still been involved in the trade. Being wrong down here. I just like to cut my losers when I see them coming. This yellow zone here is just the opening range. So that is just something that I have up here. It's not any major significant level at the moment, but this is, you can see Nvidia now rotating up. We are sitting on top of this liquidity zone here for the NQs, so I do believe that it may have one more pop to that 18,000 before that that sell-off continues. But right now we are just continuing to hold below that overnight low, and that is interesting to me. S&P's is below 5,100 once again, still holding that low. It does have some support here at that 92 flat, 5092 flat for the S&Ps. 9250, 92 even. That's kind of like a nice area of support for the S&Ps, but still playing with this overnight low level. Lack of follow through to the downside. Apple looking to rotate down. Microsoft attempting to try and get above that 402 and a quarter. Oop. Nvidia. Oop. Nvidia. Once again. Is Apple going to bounce here? I will take one more shot at this long. If it does hold above here. Do it again. Give it one more shot. You are seeing Delta tick up. We are not following through on sells. So I know I said I'm not taking another, but I think this opportunity is there. I have to take the shot at it. We did reclaim 5,100 in the S&Ps as well. So that's another reason for this thing to go a little bit upside. And now we just rejected it again. Ah, damn. Microsoft reclaimed that level, so it looks like it wants to push. Nvidia is still just sitting here, running into that pre-market resistance. It needs that 77.05. Get above that overnight low. $9.29. Just 30-minute candle looking to see what it wants to do with the close. 1 minute left in it. Could just give you that big pop now. Trying to close above key levels, especially the S&Ps, trying to get back above a 5,100. 1 hour into the market. Nvidia looking a bit up. Apple still looking at the bottom of this base here. Microsoft also bidding up. AMZN looking to rotate high side from that support level. Why? Oh, M. I'm typing the wrong letter. If it's going to come back, it's going to stop us out. So we're going to run these up. There we go. Trying to push high side.
get rid of that stop there. Throw this stop here.
See if this rotation up to the high side will take off or not. There we go. Trying to bounce. We're at break even now. Whatever happens with it, happens with it. It's okay. See if this will go. Continue going. You know what it is? It thinks. Come on out. My computer maybe thinks it's 8:30 now because this is showing opening range is this trade here. That was a nice strong move to the upside. I feel like that I need to leave this stop down here at the low. Get that one off there at the VWAP. I'm going to take one off at VWAP. See if we can get that one off there. And now we're going to put our stop here. If it comes down through that wick, then we're at least securing that first move and then our break even on the ad. But it looks like we should get the VWAP. I want to see the rotation to the overnight highs, but like I said, VWAP is usually that first target for me, so I will take off one contract at VWAP. There we go. NVIDIA looking to now get a pump. Just broke the high of the day. See if it can now just start to catch a bid and rally, and then drive this S&P and the NQs up high side. Looks really nice. We're in good shape. Shouldn't have that stop get tagged before this take profit gets hit. If not, we are out with half of the position. Well, I mean the full position, but we took off the ad at break even. But looks really nice here. Pretty strong. Looking like we want to really get into that VWAP area. Pushing up nice and strong here. Very good execution on that. I know I said I wasn't going to take another one, but this one just told me a nice little story. There we go. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to go stop loss at break even here, just below this level here. And now let's see how far we can take this. I think if we can hold above VWAP and rotate, previous session low, previous session close, our targets as well. So as we approach these levels, we'll start to trail our stop a bit more, give ourselves that opportunity to try and maximize the gains on this. We did make $100 back on that, so sitting down, realized 76. We realized 76, but we are in profit here, so let's see how far we can take it. Because we did secure $100 on that trade. And now we are just continuing to push high side. If we get above this volume area here, watch 18,000, try and get tagged and see if it'll break 18,000 or not. I do want to leave the stop here. I want to try and let this thing breathe a little bit, but I don't want to get back all the way. So I'll take off the ad, right? You know, if we made $100 on the trade, now everything that we make here is pretty much gravy because we just added that second contract on for the runner. And now we have this on. We're going to see if we can catch a bit of a move on it. If not, like I said, that's why I take off one at VWAP. Nine, 4, 7. There we go. Cool. Position board is updated. Now we're just going to chill on this, leaving the runner on. Glad that we could see this kind of play out this time. Unfortunately, we got stopped. I mentioned that I probably should have just left my stop at the low of the day on this first one. I like to cut my losers. Yeah, I might have taken an unnecessary loss on it, but now that we got our entry in again, it gives us that opportunity to shoot another shot at it and get this move, trying to move on back to the upside. If we can break this high and see if we can get through 18,000, that'd be great. If not, this is potentially going to fail at the VWAP area, rotate back to the downside. We have the rotation back down there. I'll let this thing move a little bit. See if it'll break above 18. Let's see, can we get this thing to run some more? Once you get a failure of that overnight low, I do expect, like I said, I usually like to rotate first target to VWAP, especially on extremes like that. Now NVIDIA is breaking high side, continuing to push up. The rotation, the full rotation to the other end of the overnight range usually likes to get cleaned up. That's if it follows through. If VWAP is going to act as VWAP, so be it. Then you're going to be out on this at break even on the ad, which is fine. But maybe we even go below this opening range low here, which is, I mean, realistically, it's not that much. So I'm going to leave my stop where it is at break even and see if we can get a little bit of a pop up and go from there. Hopefully you can see that reasoning behind the executions, everything that I've taken on the day. You know, certain ideas played out. Really, I mean, this idea played out nicely. We didn't really maximize it. We took off at our ad. Made like a couple bucks. Ended up losing on the first flush of the overnight low. Really, we've just continued to hold this overnight low here. If I wanted to risk full overnight low, still kind of would be a little bit of a mess. I don't want to give that much back on it. Usually with the ads, I like to take off at break even if I've taken off at VWAP, because if it's going to rotate back all the way to that spot, then it probably will flush even further. Especially you can see NVIDIA trying to give this back as well. So looks like, you know, the follow through of VWAP not quite there as of yet. Let's see if we can get there, or if it's going to falter here and continue to sell. Maybe below here, that 940 level. But I don't want to get back any more than I made. So we are probably going to end up being flat here, down about 73. So not bad. Still flat. Look for one more good one now. You can see that flush of that area trying to give you a bit more of a flush now. S&Ps, you can see, really rejected that uptrend there. Rejected that trend line that we were talking about earlier. We gave it up a little bit. Failed it. Now rotating back down. I do think if that 100 level goes again, then that 50.92.50 may come into play. You can see NVIDIA wick that high of the day now, pushing down, flushing downside. We need to see what happens with this down here at the lows, if it's going to follow through, or if it's going to be another reason to play a bounce. But you can kind of see on a little bit of a longer term here, we attempted to push back up to 18,000, failed it, and now we're looking to accept back into this liquidity zone, which is that like 920 down to that 700. So it's really 18,000 down to that 700, but really the lows here are going to be really important, right? The low of this right there is 18. So let's just, oh, sorry, I was on the wrong screen. The low of here is about 18. So we're watching this candle, this 30-minute, trying to hold that zone there. Bitcoin tops 71,000. Japan escapes a technical recession, and Portugal joins Europe's shift to the right. Bloomberg news there. just being patient now a little bit here. I don't know why this thinks that. I think the daylight savings times kind of screwed this opening range up. I think the platform itself doesn't have, let's see, time zone settings. Currently it is Central Time. It still didn't switch. There's a hold of that opening range low, which is this yellow, not this new opening range that it's deciding to do. Time zone settings. We sprung ahead, right? So it's really 8:42 now. So let's go with this one. Nope, didn't change anything. I don't know. Daylight savings time, always trying to screw things up. I'm gonna use the local. I'll turn this off because I don't want to see it. Like I mentioned, as far as trailing this out for yourself, if you were looking to trail it a little bit more loose with the add-on, you could have. I just like to, if I have an ad and I've already taken that profit off, I'm not trying to lose any money on the ad. So I go right to break even on the ad. If we do kind of continue this little bit of a move here to the high side, expect this 80 level to act as resistance. And then if we do crack through it, 18,000 obviously is that first real psychological level. We've rejected it a few times here in the opening and rotated down. So just watch it, be mindful of it. We are sitting right in the middle of the opening range. That yellow box there. Excuse me. 9:43 a.m. Central Time. Sitting down just a little bit on the day. Couple winners, couple losers. Couple of moves that we were good on and just chopped a little bit in the bottom. You do see this little bit of a wedge here forming on this 1 minute. There's resistance. I would anticipate something like that. Value area low. Breakout above here, continue the upside move. So long as Nvidia just continues to hold the highs, then you probably just continue to grind higher up into that overnight range. But you can see Apple did crack the lows and is trying to break down. Does Microsoft have the same look as Nvidia? Yeah, it does. Trying to hold that 403. AMD trying to rotate up. SMCI also rotating higher. So Amazon bounced, but is more of a little dead cat bounce there. Still looking to rotate downside. Google sitting on highs. Meta pushed pressure downside there. See what Apple does here. Apple at 172.64. That's a pretty important level from Friday. Does Nvidia give up the highs, or does it rotate down? I know Darth Trader mentioned that roll. I'm going to give you guys the link for that just so you have the resources so you can choose when you feel like rolling that contract is the right move. That is the CME group. It shows the volume on the current contracts and all that jazz. It'll help you make a good decision on that. Water. My son's just yelling about water. S&P is holding the 100 level. This chart here, just to the left, is an Apple chart. I'm just kind of watching it. It's on a 30. Put it on a 5. Apple has gone red on the day now. You can see the divergence here between these names. NVIDIA trying to push up, Apple now trying to rotate down. It was sort of opposite early, right? Apple was pushing up, NVIDIA was pushing down. And the market's been acting, as you can see, more in tune with NVIDIA than it is with Apple. And then Microsoft also dipped below that level there and now is trying to push up. If you get a bounce on Apple at all and NVIDIA continues on, then you'd see this breakout here. You see Delta pushing up higher, price trying to push there. You see it's speeding up here. There's something going on right at this level here. You can see price starting to give it a little bit more of a dance than it has been over the last few minutes. So let's watch it, see which way it decides to break. If it breaks up, continuation. If it breaks down, look to fail that overnight low. Look for NVIDIA to follow Apple. But if it continues, we have accepted that overnight low, that low from Friday, looking to push back up. We do have that pre-market high at 897 up to 900. So it seems like a number that NVIDIA wants to be back at is that 900 area. If this candle closes above here, I mean, we are too close to VWAP for me to be wanting to take an entry. But I have noticed that these trend line cracks have been playing out pretty nicely of late. So maybe downside as well. If we could see it crack and hold, then maybe that short comes in, we can play it. But if these both are going to act the same direction, that's when you're going to get that move going. I want to see S&Ps break below 100 again. If it holds, watch it run. Looks like it wants to hold, not quite. You can see Delta's flat. Price now trying to break above. There it goes. If that's going to be a failed breakout, then this short could come in here and come in fast. I like to play those failed breakouts as well, but it looks like it does want to pop and hold. I did mention any sort of hold, which this barely held. This next candle pretty much ran you right up immediately. So let's watch these high breaks. Although NVIDIA is not playing and Microsoft's looking to rotate downside, Delta played up a touch but didn't quite really follow through. So this run up to VWAP could indicate that sellers want to pop in right above there. So watch it. Let's see if we get the Surface Dome. There's a 13 and 8, nothing huge that I see. This up here has got a 40, 68, so something at 980, looking like there's a seller there. Is it just going to draw in to just continue to get bid up, or if it's going to get filled? And it looked like it just got spoofed. Don't think it got filled. I'm not sure about that. It drove markets right to that level. Now we're trying to push upside. There you go. There's the push upside. I did mention that a break above here probably gets you that follow through. Now you're starting to see NVIDIA. We just cracked that high. So that should give you a little bit more of a push. 18,000 should come into play now. Unfortunately, I didn't take that breakout there, but it's all right. $9.52. I don't take trades within 5 minutes of an hourly close, so pretty much right now we're not going to take anything. We're going to see what happens at those highs. If we are going to be in some sort of range-bound type day, I did mention that I like those rotations from overnight low to overnight high, or the opposite, overnight high to overnight low, depending on the kind of day it is. If I would have just set that entry, forget it. There's a good chance that at some point we do tag off on that overnight high. Normal days, if I'm not drawn down and I'm not like doing what I'm doing, an aggressive entry with 2 contracts in, with 1 contract off here, now that you have all the way down to break even down here for that second contract and that runner. So that gives you a bit more of some leeway on letting your idea kind of play out and be a little less scalpy and a little more positional for the day. That's really what I want to see more often than not. You are getting a little tweezer top type action here at 980 up into 18,000. Didn't quite make it to 18,000 this time. I am 2 minutes out from not being able to take a trade. Not enough coffee. I mean, I need some day trading coffee company in my life. Fuel my trading here. Apple still pushing lower. NVIDIA attempted to break these highs here. It did. Gave a little bit of a wiki action, and now it's kind of slowly pushing up. So now that that's pushing up, you can see S&P's reclaimed that level there as well. It reclaimed it. It wicked that 100, held 100, and now it's rotating higher. That kind of was an indication that this here was probably going to rotate higher, that's why we took that entry here, and that's why we took it again here. We caught that move to VWAP, got stopped out on the ad, and now we're running up. Overall, I would have, even if I didn't have the ad, I would have been taking off at VWAP there. There's no reason to hold this pullback for myself. Obviously, now we're at that previous session low. That's what we're running into right now, 18,000. We're above 18. And sitting at 1810, the previous session low is 18,012. So NVIDIA pushing higher. 900 is probably in the cards. Apple looking like it's got a bottoming tail here coming in. See if we can get some sort of setup, maybe a basing pattern here at this previous session low to rotate it to completely to that overnight high. But damn, I just missed that this entry here. NVIDIA sued over alleged use of copyrighted work in AI platform development. Interesting. Yeah, I'm going to watch, see if we can get either a break above this overnight high, a base, and a run, or what we get here where we kind of chop around and then we look to fade the overnight high and rotate back lower. That's really what I want to see because the previous session high is all the way up there. I don't think we're going to reclaim all-time highs today. So these are the levels I am watching. Let me make sure I'm on the right screen. No, I'm not. Sorry about that. This is the levels I'm watching. Overnight high, previous session high, previous session close, and previous session low. So that's the levels I'll be watching after that rotation off of the bottom looking to rotate up. Obviously, that first target was VWAP. We tagged it. Our ad got taken out. We got wicked out. Now you're rotating higher again. You know, another, how many more ticks? 400 and something ticks from this breakout point, from the ad to the top. Still possible. I don't know for sure what we're looking at as far as where this market wants to go pre-CPI. I don't know if it wants to trend up the rest of the day. So being rotational, failing that breakdown, rotating to the high, see what happens with that overnight high. If there is a cleanup of that area, right? You can see resistance, 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 resistance all night long. Bump, 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 right up into there, right? So that's what I'm watching for. The next sell point will be up in that area, anywhere from 18,046 up to like 60 area. You could kind of scale into this to short if it's going to make it there. If it's not going to make it there and it's going to stop here, it makes sense that possibly is a spot, especially because NVIDIA is running into pre-market congestion. But I think that 900 level likes to be touched. Above 55 and a hold could be bullish. Above here, sit and then hold and then rally could be bullish up to that 160, 145 to 160 area. But we need other names to play along with it. Google rallying, Microsoft caught that bounce, wicked the high of the day, and now is sitting right at that 403.89. It does have room up to that 406.18 as always. So if we do continue to grind up, if NVIDIA keeps grinding up, then possibly we get up there. If the S&Ps and the NASDAQ continue to kind of just rotate off this bottom and push up to highs again, then you could see that move take place with Microsoft at the 406.18. But Apple rotations down to the low side after being pushed to highs. NVIDIA, after pushing to lows, has rotated back to highs a day. So we're having that flip-flop in names and whatnot. It is 10 o'clock. Oh, it's 1 minute to 10. So let's see what kind of setup we get here. If this wants to make another push-up, give us maybe some sort of delta divergence, then maybe we look to short the previous session low as a hold. If we don't quite make it here, I'll give the first shot here. If we don't, I'll give a tight risk. If this doesn't play out, be patient, wait for that session close, and go from there. But you can see Delta trying to tick down. 18,000 is trying to hold here. We're dancing around with it. S&P is still holding above that 110 key level. We're up about 115, 114. That's a nice wick. 0 seconds left. Now we're in that. You can see now it's priced. You see that speed up action here at 18,000 at 10 o'clock. You do tend to see a little bit more of that action coming in. I want to see maybe a bounce off of this opening range high, pop back up into here, try to make a new high, have that delta not play along, and then look to short it down. But it may just continue now, right here, right now. Apple looking to break the lows. NVIDIA also looking to break down a bit. And this little uptrend that it's got going. 880. There's that wick down. Tried to get shorts involved right at that opening range high. There's that opening range. You need to see if it tries to make a new high. Watch the delta here. See if it's going to make a new high. This is a pretty strong delta push with the price there. It's not making new highs, but it is acting the same as the price action here. So I'm going to be watching that. Nice.
Last year's.
Last one? Oh no.
It didn't want to much if I'm sorry.
Oh no. Thank you, babe.
You did the biggest one.
New coffee time. So that push up, Delta not quite playing it. Price playing 18,000. That's just that key level that just loves to get danced with over a few sessions. Let's see what Nvidia is doing, holding that 880 level. Apple tried to wick the bottom, still holding 172.50. So I think maybe one more pop up. We didn't quite make it to this trend line here. Maybe get a little time correction into this area here, maybe 10 something before it breaks. If not, if it breaks now, then continue on. But Nvidia looking to kind of maybe break down below here, 880. Had a pretty crappy sleep last night. Not that it has translated into any crappy trading. The trades have been executed as according to our ideas. Things just didn't follow through. That's just how it works. But I want you to be mindful of, every day you should kind of keep track of how you're feeling. If you're going to journal, write down those certain things too. Not just sort of, the trades you executed or how you did on the charts. Understand how you're feeling for the day. Understand what kind of conditions are going on around you, because a lot of times people disregard those factors as things that influence their trading, and it absolutely does, right? Family things or, anything that's going on externally outside of the charts could be an influence in what you're doing on the charts. So I do like to kind of mention that to people who are considering keeping track of what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. Just notate, all right, today, I slept pretty poorly last night. I got home from work a little late. I got through my weekly market analysis, posted my YouTube video on it. You can check that link. Just kind of giving you a mindful idea of what I what I was doing and thinking for the week. By the time I got into my bed, my son got up and ran into there, so I got to bring him back to his bed. Daylight savings time, all that fun stuff got me to the point where I'm just a little tired. Nvidia bouncing off that area. We are holding 18, failing that. Didn't make new highs, but also price is not making new highs, but Delta's trying to push up. There is probably some sort of seller sitting here, but he's got to break. If it does break, overnight highs come into play. Delta trying to push. Price saying, no, we're not playing that game. If we do give you this little bit of a lower high here and you do crack below 18, we're going to watch this and see if it'll roll. But right now, price now trying to act in the same direction as the Delta. Nvidia holding up above 80 nicely here. S&P's pushing up. I think you can take a long through here, take it to that high, and then see where we can go. So I'm going to take that long there, see if I can get up into that overnight low. I'm going to watch 18,000. If it does want to dip below it, and if I do see Nvidia crack that 80 level, then I'm going to get out. So don't like those wicks right now. Previous session low. Apple curling up, Nvidia curling down. It's an amazing difference. Interesting bounce there. Previous session low. Kind of just totally opposited myself on that. Opposited. That's not a word. See if we get a bounce from this. Nvidia low, pushing 880 right now. It needs to bounce 880. If it flushes it, then we're gonna rotate lower. I had the short idea in here, and I said I was gonna take a shot short, but then the way that price was pushing, I decided to flip short long and decided to ruin my idea there. So that was a dumb move. All right, let's see if we can get this now to flush. 18,000 failed again. We are at this trend line here. If we can hold it, we just did. We just held it. See, now we're at a volume node here. Yeah, let's go for it. Give my short that idea. VWAP entry. Not something I normally like to do, but the way that NVIDIA is still pushing down there is nice. Did crack this trend line, so I'm just playing that trend line breakdown here. NVIDIA is pushing downside. Apple is curling up a little. Before that gave us the idea that the market was going down, which did happen. Sitting right on the VWAP. See if we end the point of control. Pretty much everything is confluent to that area being a point of interest for the markets. If we do get a bounce up to 18, I'm going to be out. No need for me to have been in that long from the high. That was silly on my part. Should really have looked for that short. NVIDIA now breaking down even further, down below that 877 level that we were watching before for the break out to the high side. S&Ps is ticking downside as well, so potentially this break of VWAP could lead to some more selling if it doesn't hold right now. The crack of VWAP, watch the crack down. If it doesn't crack down, if it holds here, watch the bounce. But NVIDIA is breaking, so breaking some, not flushing hard, but it has given some back. There's that good flush there of VWAP. Let's see how far down we can take this. I do want this stop to be above this opening range. Nah, it's going to be at break even. Free trade. Let's see where it goes. I do like, if this comes all the way down to that opening range, I did say 830 was a good target. Both NVIDIA and Apple ticking down. Looks like the market wants to go downside a lot harder from here. There we go. There's a good flush. Very nice. We're only in 1 micro. I haven't added any yet. Maybe if I get a little bit of a pullback, I might add, but I don't trust that that'll be a full move. I want to be above this candle, but just by a little bit. Because sometimes these grabs are just liquidity grabs, and they rotate us back to the highs, right? This was that trend line break, kind of right to that bottom into that. So we hit off on that. If that holds, then sometimes that acts as that bounce point. ES trying to break down below 110, still holding below 110. Hopefully it can flush now even further while we're in this short. I will possibly look to take the break of the low again here. If we do break that low, then I want to add. But as of right now, it's trying to reaccept into the opening range. Kind of failing it a bit. $18,000 failed again, which is really good for us on the short end. I'm looking to see to break the low here. If it breaks the low, I am adding one more. Because then I'll get a bigger flush down, I believe, on that. If 950 holds, then probably get this out because it's going to run up to VWAP. There's that break of 950. Then kind of wicked it. If 950 holds, I think I get stopped here, and we actually rotate all the way higher. So I don't want to be in still. There we go. Took $30 back, so down 100 even. I didn't update that before we were down. ES held at 110, or is trying its best. It's at 109 and a quarter, 109 even right now. I'll take that little bit of a W there. Kind of made back the stupid loss that I took on this. Or close to it. Not totally, but we are getting to that point where the flush wants to come in. I'm going to go short in again right below that 950 level. Just get that continuation down. And I'll just continue to take off profits. I want that ES down to that 5,100. Apple curled. We're still below VWAP. We made this little double topping action here at the previous session low. Probably looking to continue downside pressures. I don't see anybody really getting bid up except for Apple. Nvidia is moving downside. Microsoft pushing downside as well. Well, if Apple curls down from this level 2 as well, with the Nvidia, with the Microsoft, then maybe this thing continues back down as well. Like I said, we'll go risk that $50. Short again here through that 50 level. If we get a 50 bounce, then we just get out. I don't don't want to get wicked out right here, but I do not want to get caught in something where a squeeze happens and it just pops us off to the high side and takes us out at the highs, and then we're out, right? And we lose an oversized loss. So I just leave my losers where they are, leave my stops where they are, and whatever happens. Apple just caught a nice little bounce there, but the price is not following through here, so it's really following, obviously, what NVIDIA is doing. Maybe that was a little liquidity grab in the Apple, or maybe NVIDIA wants to turn around as well at this 874, 873.50 level. You can see now we're catching a little bit of bounce. Bounce, 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 bounce. If we make a new high here, we'll be out. If this fails again and we break the lows, I'll add a second. That first take profit will be here. Just to get one off. Opening range low, trying to hold, trying to accept within the opening range, but I think if we can get that thing to push down through, and NVIDIA likes to say break down here, we could get that follow through. I think even through that opening range low, overnight low. Still holding that S&P below that 110. It's really right there right now at that level. It's trying to hold it, and maybe that bounce kind of gives us a bounce in the NQs. But those are the mixed signals we're getting right here. NVIDIA is still staying heavy. Yes, just dancing with that 110. $109, 110, 109, 110. 110 3/4. Just a little wedge here. Whichever way it breaks, it's going. Patience, patience, patience. NVIDIA looking to rotate down. Apple rotating down. This wedge looks like it wants to crack. You're getting a heavier delta. Let's see if we can get this add-on through the bottom. Take that first contract off at the overnight low. And then I want to see if I can get a runner to push us down. Slight little looking head and shoulders type deal. It's just Delta wants to get heavy. Price wants to get heavy. NVIDIA wants to get heavy. Apple's getting heavy. We're going to get an add here. We get the second contract on. If we bounce, then we're out. Look at that. Did not flush at all. Bouncing right to the point of where I didn't want to be. And we're out. Fucking crazy, right? Look at that. Beautiful entry, beautiful add, and then right to being out. I'm going to give that wick a chance. Give that wick a chance. Risk that 100 on it and see if we can get some follow through to the downside now that we wicked that. I'm not going to give it too much wiggle room. You got to add to winners. You got to try your best to maximize your ability to take gains. Sometimes it gets you into trouble, but really with everything staying heavy, like Nvidia is pushing that 870 level. Apple is trying to curl back down from that 172.80. S&Ps did break down the 110 and is now holding. So everything here is still saying go short. Delta is pushing heavier downside. We do have that move now. I am going to move this stop to a more reasonable loss because if we do get a good bounce here again, then I don't want to be involved. 950 trying to hold, 950 trying to hold. I'm in on a short from right here. You can see 17,945.62. I was managing the position. I didn't update it. Short 17,945. Short 2 at 17,945 and 62 cents. I'll call it Nfitty. Not getting the follow through on this push. Really disappointing. I want this follow through downside, please. That 50 level needs to hold. You can see the S&Ps over here holding that 110 level, looking to kind of crack this trend line again. If it can hold and break down, it looks like the S&Ps usually is the leader of late. So if we can get this to hold down here, maybe get down to that 106 level, we'll be safe below 950. We did add a second contract through the lows. So that's why I'm kind of just sitting in this position, letting it try and flush down a bit. Nvidia is heavy. Apple's still not giving you any follow through. If Nvidia could continue to push down and get down through that 865, it might induce some heavy selling, and that's why I want to be involved in this right here, just to continue this sell side pressure. We are continuing it. It's just not giving you any sort of push yet. Delta is acting in our favor. S&P's still trying to hold that area, but not being able to. So everything lining up for this short to dump off on us. Like I mentioned, I do have one off here at 21 at the overnight low because I think we had a good bounce there before, and I want to just see if I get one off and then leave a runner on. And that's the goal, is to have at least one runner on with this. I mean, we just broke the low again and just didn't get that follow through to the downside. I'm trying to give it the room to breathe because I haven't let these trades breathe over the last few weeks, and it's just been getting me kind of annoyed a bit because these levels are working out, just not getting me the money that I need to get on these the shots that I'm taking. Right? If the S&P gets above that 110, I might need to bang out of this. But if we do get stopped out, if we don't get stopped out first, because the lack of the push to the downside, because Nvidia is now catching a bid. I'm letting it play, right? We accepted the risk. We're trying to let this thing give our move some time to go downside. Lower highs, and this low, it just keeps trying to hammer this low. Delta keeps trying to play along, and then you don't get the break. It looks like it wants to break, and then it doesn't, and then you're kind of just lingering here at this level without that good flush, although it looks heavy, right? Everything here is showing you heaviness, not getting higher bounces. 950 is not holding. You're now holding below 108, 107 on the S&Ps. You wicked through that low again. I think that could give you that sell signal, but then, like I said, Nvidia is trying to hold up that level from Friday, I should say. If we get back above here, then there's a chance this thing just rips to the high side and we'll be out, and we'll just pause again on the day. But almost there. Like I said, it feels heavy. These are wicks. Like if you're just looking at this from the outside, everything here looks like it wants to sell. Sell, 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 sell. All these wicks telling you that there's a seller here, just getting filled, and not breaking above it. At what point does the buyer below get broken? Whoever gives up first, and I'm hoping that the buyer below gives up before this big seller. If we get through this low again, I'm going to put this at break even because I'm not taking the loss on that if it doesn't give me the follow through right there. 950 trying to hold one more time. This 55 level is acting as the back wall. Come on now. There's that breakdown. Let's see if we can break through the level. It should not get back above here now again, right? So I don't want to take that full loss on it. If it does come back this way, right? If this is going to just be that final liquidity grab, I don't want to be taking a giant loss. I'll take a $30 loss on it if it's going to come back up to it and take that 55 level out. But I don't want to take a full, $60, $100 loss on it if I don't have to, because this looks like it should be breaking down here and giving you that flush and that follow through here, right? You feel like that heaviness is there. It's just not going. If NVIDIA can go, Apple's rolling. I'm going to leave this at 53. This candle here, if it wants to get above 50 again, like I said, then you have to be out. Because this final push down here would end up being just a liquidity grab, because this is acting as a wedge. And any sort of break above here, that seller breaks, then you're out, and you're out for a bigger loss than you would want to take. So I think we can get this one contract off at the overnight low. If we do get the follow through, we have the value area low right here. All right, we'll go to break even now. If it wants to come back up to us, then fine. We sat in that position nicely. We gave it the opportunity to short. We'll cover our fees on that to that wick there at the top. Like I said, if it doesn't want to follow through, so be it. But we want to be involved if it does, and that's all I could ask of any of these trades, is to try and be involved if in fact that move is going to take place. Right? I'm going to front run. I get that one contract off. If I get one contract off there, then I'll have a runner on for the rest of the move. Didn't get filled on it. Didn't get filled. They were filled. All right. So we have our stop at break even on the second contract, and we have taken one off there. So down just about $20. Yeah. If this can flush now, like I said, I expect it to be down into these ranges here. Even lower, to be honest. I think 730. Let me go to my NQ chart on here, pull it over there. If we get stopped, we get stopped. We're in this liquidity zone. We're watching this bounce. I want to see this crack those lows that we put in there, and I want to see us down into the low, down in here. That would be nice if we can break this low here. It means we're starting to make those new lower lows. That's 836. We're at 768. I mean, that's a very far down area. I think 830 is a pretty good target, but I have that. If we do make like a little flash crash or something, I'll take that profit. You can see why we took that profit off there at the overnight low based on the bounce points here. And NVIDIA flushed that yesterday's low, Friday's low. So if we do break down below 63, you expect this continuation down. Let's see if we can get down to 900. At 900, we'll trail to the overnight low, and then we'll see how far down we can kind of get this market to go. You can see why we stayed in that. We wanted this liquidity grab here. Seems like a bigger seller just trying to work into a position. Now you want to see if you can get the follow through on it to get him to take this price down to lows. If NVIDIA is going to keep pushing lower, then you would expect this to get through the overnight low and down into at least that 900 area. If not, if we get this bounce and the rotation up higher, then, you end up being out. I did mention that 50 area, and, just trying to risk to there. I don't want to give it back. Like I said, if I take that first profit off, I do move it to break even. And today it's kind of been where we've only been able to get that one contract off. And we come back and we get our break-even tag. So let's see if we can keep this rolling downside. If not, we'll be stopped out pretty much right here on an NVIDIA bounce, right? And we'll just look for one more, see if we can get ourselves profitable for the day. We would hope to not have to take any more, and this just continues to push downside. But it looks like it wants to come back up, stop us out, and run down, and probably run down some more. But like I said, I don't want to give back much of the gain that we just took. Right, we took off about $50 on that. We're sitting in profit on this one. If you're up about $50 on this one, about how many ticks? 90 ticks on it. If you expect it to stay down and break through that low, then obviously you can see pushing now again one more time, attempting to push through that value area low, broke through the value area low there. S&P's trying to get back towards that 100 level and not giving you a big follow through, but there's that next push. So we are happy with our stop location there. Now let's see what happens here. If we get a bounce or if we get that flush and hold. The flush and hold, anything that we break down here, we're going to stay above value area high, value area low as our stops, right? We want to see if we can at least secure a little bit of profit on it, a few ticks, and then hopefully this can get through that low. But you see NVIDIA giving you that bounce from that that yesterday's low at 60.85 level, right? So it's bouncing. It's been leading us. So you will see if this does go, this will go as well. Apple. Also bouncing. You can anticipate this now to probably rotate up. You can see, look at this thing. It's tightly, supporting that level there. All right, we're flat now again. Down 53. About a half hour left in the stream. Let's see what we can get. We do see that NVIDIA was grabbing that liquidity below that other low. If you can get above 877, there's a chance that it does want to continue on upside. This trend line is no longer valid. This little downward channel is still valid. However, I think that'll hold maybe for another leg down, maybe possibly even through, but we'll see. Just give me 1 minute. I got to use the restroom. I'll be right back. All right. Back again. Seeing what we can gather. Maybe we can get one more good one in here. Just want to see what happens. Another bounce off that low. You can see why we took our profit there. I want to see what happens. Around this 50 level. S&Ps is ticking up kind of hard right this second. Maybe look to go flip this guy long, but we're just going to be careful on that. Apple breaking above. Nvidia still kind of being hesitant here. So that's where we were grabbing all that liquidity before. I'm cautious on breaking longs right there, right now. I would like to see maybe a little bit of a base first and then go. You can see Apple tried to curl, held there. Nvidia also trying to curl, also holding the lows of these candles here. That's 872.50. So don't trust this long quite yet. This was that area where the big sellers stepped in, started to short. That overnight low kind of came in. And then we bounced again from the overnight low. Nvidia taking that little bit of a turn. You got resistance, support, broke through, resistance up here, broke through, supporting it, head and shoulders type deal. Now we're in a declining wedge, looking to, so you have accumulation, manipulation to the high side, a breakdown, maybe a little bit more manipulation, look to rotate to highs, or continue that rotation through the low. Failed break above that short where we were short before might come in and short again. I'll do that there. I'm taking that short again. Just with one contract at the moment. Failed breakout usually comes in quick to the downside on the other end. I will go to break even if we get below through these lows here at 32. Kids are just jumping around. It's spring break here at the Luciano household. I am past break even because I think that could manipulate there. I'd rather take a free trade on that. There you go. You see that manipulation breakout, possibly look to grab some liquidity one more time to take this lower. So now we're re-entered in where we were stopped at break even. Now if we crack this low, this time anticipate that 900 to come in. Take that free trade every time. Apple curling down, Nvidia ticking down as well. 930. If we do not get stopped out here, which we may, there we are, stopped out. Another $4.50, so down 49 even, 49 flat. Caught a couple of little dollars, making all the difference, covering our fees. Up and down there, Spy. Basically, have just not gotten the follow through on some of the moves that I've been looking at, which is understandable on a day like today, pre-CPI. You're getting the old runaround on a day like today. Although I did mention I did want to go short from here and I did want to go long from here. We caught this long up to VWAP. We caught this short down here, and then we've shorted this twice down at the lows just based on NVIDIA trying to continue to break down. If I do see any sort of bid on NVIDIA where it does make a little bit of a high, I might look to see another long rotation up to the overnight high. We just have a hard time breaking through this overnight low. You do have a higher high in Delta, you have a higher high in price. We have run into this seller here at 955. So if NVIDIA and Apple can kind of start catching bids here, if this 955 seller breaks, you can see there's resistance here, very choppy days pre-CPI. Kind of wanted to play rotations on a day like today, and that's what I've been attempting. I've also been trying to catch these flushes, which have worked out. I just took a couple extra hits on this where that's really where I'm my down is. I'm basically break even on the trades that I've executed appropriately. You got lower high here, lower high here, lower high, lower high. Potentially looking to see, apparently these trend lines have been working of late, so I will be mindful of these on the breakdown in a trending direction, right? We are in a downward momentum environment at the moment. This thing is unnecessary. This is sort of unnecessary. However, I'm just going to adjust it down and pop that there. And this is more in that range. So this is where we're at currently with NVIDIA, just lingering in that 870, pretty much dead center of the range on the day for NVIDIA. Apple continuously tried to push up, beaten down, pushed up again just now, gave you a nice little topping tail at that 173 level. If it wants to break and hold, it may continue on. S&P's looking to reclaim that 110. If it can hold this 110 right down here, you can see there's a bounce play here. We wicked through it again, but it's more congested this time than the previous times before. And we are kind of getting a little bit of a downward trend within it here. So I'd like to short the highs down through the lows and then just kind of play those rotations. If it holds this here and breaks above that 120, it may catch a bit of a bid and continue to rally. And then into that CPI number, then you get that true reaction. See, there's that break of that 55 seller. NVIDIA is going up. But now we get a big wick there. So now you're starting to see this guy kind of playing out. $55 broke. Goog, break the highs. Amazon, nice little higher low on a bounce here. Let's see if it'll make a new higher high. Apple giving you that like heaviness, and the NVIDIA as well giving you heaviness. Microsoft attempting to bounce off 402 and a quarter, holding above it, but it's really been range bound between 402 and a quarter and 403 and a half. So just kind of watching those levels a bit. You know, as we're below VWAP, shorting these pops is has been successful. If we get back above VWAP, and then 18,000 comes into play, then you see what happens again around these levels, right? I liked the overnight level better. I wanted to short up here. I said I would give this one shot. Ended up taking the long on it like an idiot, and then ended up catching the short. So another kind of a reason why I'm down a little bit is that move there because I talked about it. I'll take this. There we go. need to see VWAP break. Almost there. I'm good. I'll be done by 11. Get through VWAP, push to the high side. NVIDIA is catching a bit of a bounce, pushing through that 72 level, which has been acting as resistance. This big seller gave up here at 55, so this should give us a little bit of a reason for a bit of a rally. It should get through the VWAP area. Get through the VWAP, push up through the high, and that's really where I want to see out of this. Microsoft bounced, NVIDIA bounced. I'm sure Apple is bouncing as well. Apple's trying to, but it's really just faded. I'll give it to this area because I think that 55 was pretty important. If I see NVIDIA start to give up anything, I'm going to just go to break even. I want NVIDIA over 877, probably gets this bad boy on a run. Rotational type days is what I look for. Like I said, in a pre big number kind of day, you know, you get to clean up the overnight levels at the lows, then go up to the overnight high, then, you know, fade back down to close the day. And those are the kind of days that you look to see, especially if it's a rotational type move, right? We are kind of just lingering here at VWAP. Nothing giving you that push, but S&P is still pushing up higher above that 114 area, holding 110. I think VWAP pretty much giving you that hold here. 980. You want to get above 980. 80 levels and 20 levels in the NQs love to play. So above 80, you know that you're breaking through some resistance. I think NVIDIA is giving up some of that. I'll take that break-even trade once again. I'd rather take a break-even than look to re-enter it if it does come down and then try to break through again. I just don't want to be stuck and take a loss after taking that move out. So we are even on that. Nothing crazy. Still looking to catch this thing on a follow-through of a move. If that's not going to follow through, then watch the break down at 955 again and go from there. A break of 80. I went with break even. A break of 80 does get you that push to the high side. 10:50 p.m. We got 10 minutes left in the stream. Let's see if we can get ourselves a nice little trade here. Let's use the VWAP as the out. Give me that 80 break. Give me that 80 break. Come on now. Break 80. Like I said, I'd re-enter if I got in. Yeah, slightly higher price, but if we do get the follow through on it, then it's actually worth it, right? It's a no harm, no foul type game. Now we're free again. Need to break and hold 80. We are holding it. Now let's see. I mean, we broke it. Now we need to see it hold. S&P is looking to kind of get above. NVIDIA looking to get above. I'm not trying to get... I would like to see it even break even harder. Give me another entry here above this opening range high. Then I'll take profit on one at this previous session low. There you go. Is it a free trade and an ad? You always want to try and get your winners to get some ads on there. Getting some strength in here. Every little tiny dip is getting bid up pretty hard here. So I think 18,000 tries to come in. If 18,000 comes in, we're going to move these stops straight up to where the ad is. If we get stopped before it, and maybe it rotates down again because it's accepting within that opening range trade. I'll take one up. I'll take the add up when we get above into that 18,000. Nvidia rotating down now, so they might get stopped on this where he did, because Nvidia didn't give the follow through there. Made a solid $8 on that, so we're down $40 on the day. You see why I take off where I take off. I try to add through strength on my move, but you're actually now getting some weakness here coming in at that opening range high. Still trying to leave that opening range high at the high. That's the breakout point. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't need it. I'm going to watch this. Nvidia rolling once again. Apple rolling again. Does VWAP hold? Kind of getting heavy here. Kind of get real heavy. Delta is playing along, so we are congruent here. We just burnt right through VWAP with no issues. If this low breaks, then you want to see that continues to flush. Apple has like a lower high type pattern forming. If you can get back up into here, same kind of deal that we had there right here, then that short rotation down as well. VWAP is holding. We have became positive cumulatively in Delta. We're trying to make new highs in this area, and price is Delta's not confirming, right? So if VWAP is going to end up being the selling point where they're getting good prices over here and they want to sell, I'm watching the Nvidia trade. If it kind of can get down back through that 870, it could break down and flush through the low, also carrying us down, and then I'll take some profits on that as well. But we are holding that 870 at the moment. A break of 877 to the high side gets you that move through maybe up to 900, but right now just still kind of lingering within the middle of that range. You can see Delta ticking up, price trying to get above those highs. Delta now trying to play along. Let's see. S&P's sitting at 5115. Yep, everything is just consolidating right here. We're going to see which way they decide to go. I think if Nvidia does decide to crack this little bit of a trend line here, we'll go on the 1 minute. It looks like it wants to hold at the moment. Right here. That's what we're looking at here as well. Very similar charts, except for the NQs took a little bit more of an exaggerated push to the high side on that last pump and less of a pullback. As we were mentioning if you go over to the YouTube video or into the link for the write-up, you could see what I mentioned about how some of the individual names are doing bigger pullbacks and the market's not, overall the pullbacks in the market aren't following through as much. So let's watch to see if this NVIDIA cracks here, if it does give us a nice solid push and rip to the downside, which will carry this down even further as well. But if it holds, if it is like a false break and a hold, the continuation is on. S&P has not really pushed up any higher also, but it is holding that level that we were mentioning. That 110 level pretty much is that breakdown point. It's popped down, it's popped up through it, down, back up, now holding that 115 level. If it wants to crack above there and get through 120, I do think that the S&P has a little bit of room upside. But with NVIDIA doing this, with this crack here, we could possibly see now a little bit of a rollover come into play. You see NVIDIA trying to do this little bit of a dance to the downside, and NQs doesn't want to follow through. So if you get a pop in NVIDIA, the pop in the NQs might be a little bit stronger. $10.58. 2 more minutes left in the stream. I'm going to probably stay on for like, no, I can't enter a trade until at 11. So let's see if 11 o'clock comes around. I can get one more good in, and then we'll be done with the stream come by 11, 11:15, 11:30. You can see, like I said, Delta pushing up, price pushing up, NVIDIA not quite, getting back above this level, but holding it. Now, if it does hold and start to run, you can see that the NQ is going to want to go as well. I flattened that. So that's a good little move there. That was a good, talking that portion out, right, where you say this was creeping up prior to this going. This went. Now it's going even further. We took this a couple times. Didn't catch this actual time where it broke out because I'm not able to take a trade for another 40 seconds. So it'll give us that few minutes to take a setback. That hourly close, I love to wait and give that hourly close some time. 18,000 acting as resistance. All right, 18,000 tag, 10 seconds left in the hourly candle. We will be done with the stream. We're not streaming the rest of the week because my parents will be in town, and we're going to spend some time with the family and do some things for spring break. So there's plenty of people in these streams doing a really great job. I hope you do come next week when I start streaming up again, start trading again. Every day, like I said, that I can stream, I will be streaming. Unfortunately, like I said, this week is the week that I kind of prepared for not having anything going on. We've been building good momentum as a community, so it's really great to see everybody around and continuing to participate. You can see that 18,000 level failing. The only thing is that you do have a good delta push, so I'm not convinced quite yet on this potentially being a failure. Although if the NVIDIA does crack, then a reacceptance into the opening range, push down to the low, could potentially be a good sign, rotating between 18,000 and 17.9. 6 seconds. If this closes down in here, then we'll set up a sell stop down below, but it seems like it wants to reject here. 1 more minute. We are short from 985 based on the failed break of 18,000 and NVIDIA trying to crack this trend line once again. We're going to add a little bit to it in a minute. Let me give a position board update. We are not flat. We are short 1. Shoot. One MNQ at 17,985 and 0 ticks. And we are getting a little push. If we get the breakdown of the VWAP, we are adding below this wick here if we can. But right now we're getting a little bit of a pop. S&P's broke above and now it's failing that level. So it looks like the same kind of setup here. If we can get through VWAP, then maybe we can get that failure. Seeing this trying to hold below this trend line break. It's nothing like exact, you know, could be in that range there, but we are holding below it, looking to stay down and underneath this range here. If we can get an accept back below 71, down into 70s and 65s, then hopefully we could rotate this whole thing down. If this does wedge here and create a new high, that's really it. It feels very heavy here. I'm even on that one. So now if we do get the add on through the low, then we'll have just that risk of the add. I had added that, so we do have that. You can see NVIDIA rotating through the lows. Should be able to get a little bit of push now through the top, through the bottom. VWAP is a good stop. There we go, a nice little breakdown there. Come on now, be an actual flush instead of a false move. Be a good flush. Delta was acting in congruence. We're getting a little... I'm going to leave that stop at the break even. It's a free trade, like I said. Every time I add on, I get to a free trade. You know, if we get stopped out, it's fine. It is just the ability to double up your win as opposed to taking a small winner at the add point. You add on and you just give some more room to this thing, and then we'll trail that one. If we can crack that low there, crack that low, is that going to act as support or not? That was a pretty good support there. We're past break even at the moment. That was a really nice little push, but it's not giving you that good follow through. That 65 tagged again as support for NVIDIA. So that is a buy point for everything else. So if we do get whipped out, then so be it. But we are in on this short, trying to maximize our gain here. I'm going to probably look to see if this thing will continue to flush. Do I want to take the full risk on it beforehand? Just because this is a pretty good idea here from that 18,000 level down to the downside. I'd rather risk. No, I'm going to leave it alone. Break even, just above VWAP. And then we'll trail this add. Got to look to see if this will break down. Break down. Come on now. Now we're out. Oh, we only got filled on one of the... All right, we're flat on that trade. We are down $33.50 on the day. I'm going to look to maybe see if we get one more okay little entry here. That VWAP could act as that resistance. I do want to watch it really closely right now based on the way the NVIDIA trade is going, right? So our ad here could still be valid again, right? We were at break even on the whole trade. We made a little tiny bit, $3-4. But this still feels quite heavy in my eyes. But this trend line acted as major support here. As you can see, wicked it. If we can break through it, then maybe we can get this to continue. I'll sell it right there again, right at the ad. And we're going to hold only one through the low if we can get there. Just giving that VWAP wick a chance to see if it's a true sell. I'm not even risking a full loss. I'm risking just above that candle. 50 ticks. You would like to see it. I mean, obviously, through there. So just give me a second. I'm going to let that play out for 1 minute. Walk away for a second. All right, we're still here. Let's see if that trend line cracks. 967. Just gotta update that. 967. What the hell? Once again, you're seeing those topping tails at an area of VWAP that is interesting. You're getting a slight tick up in delta, but the price isn't ticking up. So you're seeing price that wants to get heavy and push down lower. And that's what I want to have play out here, especially with that CPI data potentially coming in hot and people anticipating that, looking to try and maybe get out of these longs that they've been in for some time ahead of that number. This is distracting. We added a second there at the flush of that low of this. I mean, you can see NVIDIA just getting heavier and heavier and heavier. Market's getting heavier. You want to see that push down to the downside again and see if we can get the big flush come in before we get stopped. That's really all we want at the end of the day. Apple starting to curl. NVIDIA right at that point from that Friday's low. Is this the time that it breaks through it or not? And I mean, you don't want to not be involved if that's what it's going to do. If NVIDIA is going to break the low from Friday and accept below it, like you see right here, we're starting to push down, starting to get more involvement in that, right? That the shorts are starting to pile in. You're seeing the delta act in our favor. Things are moving the right direction for us. So you have to add, like I said, that's why I add those contracts. And I look to get like one off at key zones, right? So there we go. We're getting a good flush. Nice little flush there, right to that volume node at 950. 950 was a key area prior, so we are going to kind of be mindful of that. as far as you can see these wicks here as a profit potential area for some people, but I do think that there is still some room for this to continue to flush. So I'm going to hold it. Oh, wow, that's a nice little bounce there. You don't want to be giving too much room because you don't want to get whipped out and taken to the long side, but I do think we can continue to flush this. It doesn't want to go. You're going to get a bounce here or you're going to get a flush. This is the decision time. Now, we got to put this risk up here. We got to let the risk play out. And we'll take that first. I don't want that to there. I want this to here. NVIDIA just wants to break. There's no reason this market wants to go up. It just should not want to go up, I should say. This NVIDIA, you see NVIDIA right here attempting to crack that Friday low, Friday low, Friday low. Looking, this is showing it as a bounce point, but I don't think that that's really what you have as far as Delta is concerned. You know, you had this big move, bounce. This is the second touch, third touch of it. You want to look to see if it'll crack it. And I don't want to get wicked out right now on my short and this thing just melt off the way it is kind of appearing, right? So that's why I brought my stop above this breakdown candle, because I did want that to be involved there. I don't want to get wicked out. It looks like we're gonna. Ah, damn. No follow through on that stupid flush. Stops in a good spot. Stops in a good spot. If we do get stopped, it's probably, yeah, we're out. We're flat on that. Down 62 on the day. Not really going to try and force it at the moment, but I really think that this thing does want to go downside. Not 60. All right. Stay on a few more minutes. Try and get this thing. Oh, there's an order there that we don't want out there. I'm going to leave that off to the side so I can see it. I think really need to get something working here. I'll take the flush now. Thank you very much. On the retest of the VWAP, break down, get down through that low. If we can get through the low, the break even will happen. And we'll just, I'm talking about the low of that yellow box. That's where I want that flush to happen through. It's the opening range low. NVIDIA is still looking to test that 65 level one more time. If it can get through it, like I said, I want to be involved in this short because it's just so tempting for me to see that NVIDIA wants to break that low of the day. And it is ticking down, it's ticking down, it's ticking down. You're not getting follow through on Delta pushes to the high side, right? Apple's still rolling over as well, so you know, there's nobody's really giving you the strength here for as far as the larger names in the NQ index here. So that's why I'm looking to see if the heaviness will come into play or not. When the time is right, it'll go. And usually I walk away from the computer and it's gone, and the time has come and gone. And since I'm not trading the rest of the week, I am staying a little later on the stream. And because I see this short wanting to play out and I just want to be involved in it, so I'm trying to do my best to be able to let this thing get down a bit further before I move to break even. Like, I don't want to keep break even in myself all day. You can see these wicks just playing. Support. Is that a liquidity grab here and then a rotate higher? Is that what that is? Not with these names so heavy and Delta not playing along. The buyers aren't quite there. I think we could see a seller come in from this VWAP, but if not, like I said, we'll be out. I think that's probably it for what we got going on. I was worth risking that 2 guy for it. And we're going to be flat now. There we are. We're flat again. Down 100. Just a lack of fucking follow through on anything that I take the last fucking month. Crazy. Bounce plays in NVIDIA from that one, that 865. Really just doesn't want to give up that bottom end. I'm going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of that. Apple is wedging out. Pushing off that high. Get rid of these numbers. Trying to get this trend line out here. There we go. NVIDIA now breaking upside on the bounce. Playing in the chop some. S&P's looking to bottom tail and then trying to get above 120. We're staying on for the next 10 minutes and we're out of here. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Have a good trading week. Always, I'm going to be back on come next week, 8:30 a.m. We're going to look to do some more videos, more education, and just kind of continue on with just growing the stream, growing everybody out here. We're on YouTube, we're on Tradecaster, on Instagram. Follow us at Policing Pips, at Day Trading Coffee Co., and you will not be disappointed. I appreciate you, Abby, for coming by. Like I said, I'm going to stay on for 10 more minutes. I just wanted to thank everybody. Let everybody know that I am having family over for the next week or so. So just going to try and spend time with them and enjoy it. You know, I take some time off the charts. My stuff's just kind of lacking follow through over the last few weeks anyway. So overall, we're just looking to kind of reset, enjoy the week. I will come in and out here and there, like I said, either in the chat or maybe in YouTube videos or something. I'll post like daily recaps and my thoughts on kind of market direction. I think with the CPI, obviously you're going to get the lack of push through everything at the moment. We are lingering at these lows, and we're going as NVIDIA goes. So NVIDIA just tried to break above again at that 870 level. So if it holds 870 and rotates up, you get the push. If not, if it fails here again, you might get the rotation that we're actually finally looking for. But yeah, like I said, 10 more minutes or so. Got to go to work today. Today's the last day of work. So before my little couple days off, today's my Friday. NVIDIA looking to hold. Apple looking to possibly look to break above that 173 level. This time, this here failed to break out, rotated down. We got this level again. This is the the opening range high. Didn't break it again. Rotating downside. If you kind of break through this trend line and hold, then maybe that rotation comes down. We can actually get a good follow through, but it seems like nothing's following through on the day. So just if you get a little 1-to-1 action, take the profit, move on. Take this up to highs there. Ooh, kind of missed that. How could you miss that? You all right out there? See if we get this one to break out. Give me a second. Close the door for a minute. Good change, buddy, okay? Kiddos. 5 more minutes left. They did try to take this long on the break above the wedge pattern. Didn't get quite there yet. See if it'll follow through. If not, if it breaks down through here, obviously it'll be a stop out and we'll be done again. Like I said, just looking to capitalize on these moves that have been playing out all the last few weeks. Longs above VWAP, breaking above key trends. S&P's is looking to break above that 120. If it does, then this follow through does kind of make some sense. We are ticking up over there. The Nvidia trade seemed to kind of get people involved in shorts down here to look to see maybe rotate them through the highs, stop out those highs. That's the idea on that end of it. And Nvidia rotating down. Just that kind of day for me. The one contract. Once again, Nvidia is rotating a little bit downside and the market's holding up a little bit stronger. Now it's not. So that was going to be my little thing. If you do get a bounce in Nvidia at all, then this market will follow through on the bounce more so than on the downside because it's not following through on that push to the downside. So if we do get the pop, then you might get that follow through. So that's what I'm looking for here based on the last time it did the same exact thing, kind of like a little bit of a delay, but we're probably going to get stopped out on it before it decides to do that. And I'm not looking to re-enter it. So overall, let's see if it'll just catch that bid. You can see that just kind of getting sucked up there. I want to get up into 18,000. It hasn't made it there yet since the previous touch, and this time again we're looking to try and attack that 18,000 level. I think that's where price wants to at least try to get to. If we do, you can see that high volume node right there. I want to get above that area. That's at 18,000, and if we can get that, then we can get to break even, and then see how far we could take it on the trail. You know, if nothing's going to follow through today, then nothing's going to follow through today. You know, you take your shots based on these moves, and you go from there. You know, down 160, just another day of grinding downside on the P&Ls. So you get in a hole, you start to grind, you get a little tight, things start not playing out the way you like them to play out, and you do things a little bit differently than you normally should. So I'm just going to call it for the day. I appreciate everybody, like I said, Abby, I appreciate you coming by every day, coming in here, Spy, Proby, Soli, everybody who comes in on a day-to-day basis. We'll probably get this follow through to the downside now because I'm done, but it is what it is. I just, overall, I've gotten tighter and things have just kind of not worked out on a lot of these moves. I've explained everything that I've done. Every trade is honestly, thought behind it. There are reasons behind the moves, and just sometimes things don't play out. So, overall, you're watching things that kind of come into play. You adjust your thesis throughout the day. Try not to get married to one way or the other because, like I said, if I was just married to the idea of breaking the lows, we would just continue to hammer this short. Once we saw this failing, the breaks, we did capitalize on a lot of those good moves there, but at the end of the day, we are down. So just another sort of grindy type of day for myself. But like I said, I appreciate you all being here. I will see you again next week. We will be back here Monday, probably next week Monday. I'll keep everybody advised via Instagram and in here in the TradeCast lobby. So if you come in and you see that I haven't been live for a few days, just check the lobby. I'm going to add some notes in there as the week goes on, but I won't be streaming live until next week. So hopefully we can build on the momentum we got last week. The week off of trading a little bit more, just giving me a little refresh on the strategy, let the market settle in a little bit, and then we'll go from there. All right. Until then, I love everybody for coming in. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you again another day.